Welcome to Esoteric Talk, where we cover everything within the realm of spiritual mystery. Join me, astrologer, psychic medium, and frequency healer, Lydia Chiarenza.
And me, Rachel Talia, hypnotherapist, intuitive, and energy practitioner, as we uncover what lies beneath in today's episode of Esoteric Talk with AstroGnosis, hypnotherapy, and astrology.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Esoteric Talk. In today's episode, we give a brief kind of overview of what's going on astrologically before we roll into an interview with Darren Dykhouse, who's the founder of the YouTube channel Lakeshore Paranormal. Darren is an empathic paranormal researcher who focuses on spirit communication and ITC work. And we are super excited to see what he kind of has to say today. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to you, Rachel.
Hello, Lydia.
Hi, Rachel. How are you doing today?
Doing well, considering the astrological atmosphere of the week.
I know it's pretty crazy right now. Monday was like electric.
Oh, why? What was going on, Miss Astrologer?
In relation to the full moon in Aquarius, there was like a really intense T-square that was in the sky, definitely, between the sun and the moon, which is the full moon, and Uranus and Taurus. I mean, I know many people experienced a feeling of being on edge, definitely those with early degree Scorpio energy as well.
Oh, really? Guess who's an early degree Scorpio
Right?
sun?
I know, I made this, I reached out into the collective and I'm like, if you have early degree Scorpio energy, and there was like, my post was just filled up with people that were like, oh my God, I'm losing it today.
Well, there definitely was a tension, but I mean, also with before the full moon in Aquarius, this past weekend with the moon in Capricorn and hitting Pluto and Saturn, I could definitely already feel that energy and that tension, probably Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. That's when I began to feel it too. I could feel it over the weekend, like really bubbling. And I think that probably had to do with the Mars-Jupiter square tightening, which Mars-Jupiter is exact, yesterday? Yeah.
So, okay, Mars-Jupiter square, what does that mean to people that don't know astrology?
So when we're dealing with Mars and Jupiter, we're dealing with, it's big mad energy. We're dealing with anger and aggression coming up against expansion and faith and belief and all of that stuff. We saw the explosion in Beirut that just completely rocked them, which is very Martian. Mars rules over weaponry and combat. And I really wonder if there was like a secret belief-based notion behind the reason as to why all of that happened. I haven't been following the news closely, but I know that they haven't found like a source, or they hadn't, at least the last time I checked, in relation to who kind of caused that explosion. But I do wonder if there was any sort of belief behind it because of Jupiter.
Well, yeah, I believe there was something found. I don't know exactly what it was. There was some sort of chemical reaction, and it was supposed to be accidental. But then, of course, there's some that are speculating that it could be something else. So I'm sure if there is, that will be revealed in time.
In time, definitely.
I mean, this whole end of the summer and the rest of the year, Mars is in Aries, right?
It is until January, ultimately, and we have the Mars-Pluto square approaching an exact point next week on, what day is that? It'll be on the 12th, I do believe. Yeah.
So Mars in Aries, the god of war. I mean, is this something that people need to be concerned about, or what's the best way to approach this in a way of not getting too caught up with the fear already that's in the atmosphere? How can somebody best navigate this transit of Mars and Aries, and what would that mean?
Honestly, I think the best way to go about navigating it is with conscious awareness, to be able to consciously know in the moment what that intensity is. Because Pluto, we're dealing with death and rebirth and all of this murky shit beneath the surface. And it's going to create and cultivate a lot of tense situations. In the United States, that's probably even more so going to be true on a political front at that, because Capricorn is the government, ultimately. It's the people in charge. I would not be surprised if some stuff didn't come out into the open next week either, definitely.
Well, yeah, because Pluto is the underworld, the shadow aspect, and being that it's in Capricorn, it's revealing the shadow of our government, of our structures, of things like that, right? So
it makes definitely sense. Too, because we're rolling into our Pluto return right now. Like, it's gonna get worse within the next 2 years as well. This is just the dawning of it all.
What do you mean? This is supposed to be the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
I do believe it is. We're going to get there, but we have to get through this grossness first. And it's not going to be pretty, and it's not done yet.
Right. And I think it's just recognizing how this energy, how you're feeling, and how, like you said, to consciously navigate through that, to be able to process and not react, or be able to observe put a little bit of distance between yourself and the emotions.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But it's definitely a process, and it's a cleansing process. Hopefully, I don't know. I have a good feeling about it, to be completely honest. I have a feeling that we're going to bring a lot out into the light of day, ultimately. And it will, in turn, cause our country to experience rebirth. Just how far do we have to go before that point, you know?
Well, Pluto, let's just break things down and transform them for the better.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a process, but it's definitely a necessary time
cleansing.
Yes, definitely
purification.
Yes, that's but and we'll make the best of it, and just take things one day at a time.
Definitely. Well, the cool thing is, I'm moving away from the Plutonian energy, which will be a major focus. And Mercury just moved into Leo, so we're getting a little bit of fiery energy, at least with our communication, a little bit more fun, because it was in Cancer since friggin' May.
Right. So instead of this dealing with it, talking about and thinking about our emotions, we can maybe have a little bit more fun the rest of the summer.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So this is our second show, and we have. Go ahead.
This is our second show, and we are so excited about this.
Yes. Who do we have? Who is our next guest?
Our next guest with us on this show is a paranormal investigator named Darren Dykhouse. He's the founder of the YouTube channel Lakeshore Paranormal, and he is an empathic paranormal researcher who focuses on spirit communication and ITC work. But even cooler, this guy is from Michigan, and I thought that was pretty cool. He's my home state. I wanted to welcome somebody kind of who delved into the realm of paranormal from the Midwest as well.
That's awesome. Well, I'm very excited, and welcome to our show, Darren.
All right, yeah. So I originally started this because I was having a lot of experiences that were kind of unexplainable. Then I actually had a psychic reading. She told me a lot, confirmed a lot of the things that I was dealing with. She had confirmed that I, am an empath, and I can pick up on things that not everyone can pick up on.
How does that feel for you? How do you feel when you connect to that energy, or you feel that something is in your vicinity?
Yeah, I mean, it can be all sorts of ranges from different emotions. But for the most part, a lot of it's anxiety, and I wouldn't say fear or nothing, but I can usually tell if something's negative or positive, kind of more friendly, I guess you could say.
Did you spend the majority of your life or anything like that thinking that you had anxiety?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've dealt a lot of I guess you could say mental illness kind of comes in with it, but I've been in and out of the hospitals dealing with anxiety and depression and stuff like that my whole life. So
Oh, that kills me because I understand that as a Pisces. That was very much so how I felt before I
Yeah,
realized, like, I have a gift here.
yeah, exactly.
Especially, if your family doesn't understand what's going on. Would you say that you grew up in an environment where you're able to talk about these things, or was it something that wasn't really discussed?
Um, no, actually, my mom has been so supportive of the whole thing. You know, of course she's gonna worry about some of it, but you know, it's affected my family, emotionally, there's a lot of emotions coming in and out, but other than that, I get a lot of support really, and they're understanding, which is nice.
I was gonna say he's a Pisces, Rachel. So I mean, he would have a little bit of support in that probably.
So, how old were you when you decided to start doing the paranormal investigation research?
Um, Probably I was fascinated with it my whole life. My sister would drive me around to haunted locations when I was like, 12 or so, but I didn't really understand it a whole lot back then. But um, 2013, I was kind of really getting into ghost adventures and all that stuff, and then I started going to cemeteries, but then nothing really came of it. But then 2018, I started my YouTube channel, and I just started going around filming, me going to cemeteries or haunted locations and stuff, and it's kind of just evolved from there.
And what's your YouTube channel so you can share with our
Oh
audience?
yeah, it should be under Lakeshore Paranormal. I'm based out of West Michigan.
Do you do investigative work for people, like individually, if they need
Yep.
something like that?
I have, and we've done house cleansings and stuff like that as well.
Oh, that is awesome.
What does a house cleansing consist of for you?
Oh, we would go in, talk to the homeowners, see like what the reports are, what kind of things are going on. Then we would probably walk around. If I were also doing an investigation, I would probably get some readings off my spirit box. But then after that, we would, I would probably take my psychic medium, and she does like prayers and burns the lost sage. I prefer Palo Santo wood. Burning Palo Santo wood does create, brings in a lot of love and light and everything.
Wow, that's really amazing. Go ahead.
I want to know like a crazy experience. Like I want to know like your craziest experience that you've had so far.
Well, actually, all right. So the craziest was I was at a place here called Nunica Cemetery, and I was packing my camera equipment up in my car, and I said a closing prayer, and I looked to my right, and there was a woman in a white Victorian dress standing in front of me, and I will never forget that. It was just incredible.
That's crazy. So do you normally see visuals or like apparitions or whatever, or is it normally like
Like
more?
if it's a full-bodied apparition, I've only seen like maybe one or two. But I do see a lot more shadow figures, and that's part of
Oh
my
yeah.
ability. So I see a lot of shadow figures out of like the corner of my eye, or um, for example, I was at the Joliet prison recently, and I had like a shadowy mass standing over me, like right when I was entering the jail. And it really almost looked like a 7 foot tall shadow figure, and it's just kind of creeping behind me.
Does
That
that kind of
was
stuff scare you?
See, it doesn't bother me. That's part of my gift, I guess. It just does not bother me. I see things, but I mean, I guess I'm used to it. There have been like places that I've gone where I regretted going and probably won't go back because I've gotten what I would call like psychically attacked. I wouldn't, go as far as saying like scratched or nothing. Yeah, like psychically attacked can bring on a lot of bad depression, mood swings, and all sorts of bad things.
How do you avoid an attachment, or how have you ever had an attachment, and how did you work to get rid of it or cleanse it?
For me, I definitely like cleansing baths or let's see, I use crystals and meditation too. Meditation is definitely I guess if it's bad enough, I go to a Catholic church. But I try to keep myself out of trouble too much, not too crazy.
So what would so at the Catholic Church, is it because of the holy water, or do you just feel like it's a place
yeah, I
that...
do. Once in a while I'll do like a Catholic service, like Saturday night mass, and I can definitely tell the difference after, been investigating as long as I have, and it's definitely reading. But I also get holy water too. I've used that. And I kind of attack it on all fronts. I've worked a little bit with sorry about that. Wiccan and spells. Just a little bit of everything.
So there definitely has to be a lot of protection going into it and afterwards, or cleansing, right? To be able to make sure that, I mean, you said you don't really get affected by maybe some of the shadow ones, but for somebody that's interested in this, what do you think is necessary? Just carrying certain crystals, or the prayers,
Yeah.
meditation?
Yeah, definitely. Whatever, you believe in. I mean, a lot of people believe in different stuff, but I would say a prayer, look up, opening prayers for investigations, or what crystals best suit you. I mean, black obsidian, black onyx are good for dark energy. And so there's just a lot of different things you can do. I like meditating. I do that as much as I can.
What about, like, what are your victories in relation to this? Like, I know you've had to have experience with people who, like, were able to connect with somebody they lost or something like that. Am I right about that? I feel like you have.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a big one for us when we first started doing this. We had to cleanse a house that both their parents had passed away in the home, and dealing with that. Or I had another case where her husband had passed away, and it wasn't even 2 weeks, and she wanted us to come over and help him, and she kept seeing him around still. And then also, it's really kind of opened my eyes up. Before I started doing this, I was a diehard atheist. I even have like dark tattoos and stuff like that. But when I, really started doing this, I know there is more out there than meets the eye, and I've learned that now.
It is interesting how that works, definitely. I can confirm that as a medium. I'm not like you. I don't see things. For me, it's all like clairaudient information. But yeah, how can you not have faith in something beyond yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I tend to be more empathic, but I've had experience where I've done some paranormal investigations just for fun with some people, or gone to, I don't know if you've heard of the Louisville Sanatorium, the sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Waverly Hills.
Yeah, Waverly Hills. Yes, thank you. And had some interesting experiences with shadow people and things like that. And so I definitely can notice the energy and shift within myself. And so being able to guard and protect myself is something that I've had to make sure I do, especially in these places. But because you can notice a difference even in your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is. Yeah, especially being sensitive or an empath, we're almost more prone to getting attacked or more prone to experiencing something. We're vulnerable, I guess you could say.
So then what is it about this? What does this feel for you doing these? Beside, is it like the connection to something else? Is it a spiritual element? Is it just the deep interest?
Well, for me, it's just, yeah, the deep interest, the spirituality. It's changed my life so much so far, and almost for the better. And I post a lot of my work on YouTube, and the YouTube community has been wonderful to me, and a lot of great followers and friends, and it's a great community. So it's just, the more I do it, the more I want to do it. That's how I feel about it.
I think that's absolutely awesome. I love that you're from Michigan too, because I do find a lot of like paranormal investigators kind of around here, but I don't know. I feel like Michigan, they need more of this.
They do. Yeah, when I first started this, I was kind of bummed that like ghost hunters or like the big major TV shows don't visit Michigan as often as other states, and I think a lot of it has to do with ratings, I guess. But there was a real void for it for a while there. But there's a lot more teams that are coming to the state now, and it's pretty nice to see.
So
Yeah, definitely.
where's some places that you want to go that you just are dying to go and check out and do some investigations?
Well, if I stuck around Michigan, I definitely want to get over to Eloise Insane Asylum. But
Ooh.
definitely, um, if I ever were to get out of state, I've been really dying to get over like Gettysburg or the Conjuring House. I've been seeing a lot of that lately, but um, I came across for myself. Came across a cemetery atlas guide that was only available at a library, and for it to wind up in my hands was pretty cool. Um, so I have every single cemetery in the state of Michigan. So I like doing cemeteries a lot. With
I've been to the outside of Eloise before, but I've never been inside of it.
that place looks really cool.
Ooh, it's creepy.
What is it about do you find that there's a lot of activity, just even with using the equipment you use, or you just sense it, or what
Yeah,
is it about the?
yeah, I like the older cemeteries. The tombstones look amazing, and I seem to do really good with like the spirit box at cemeteries, or some of the apps that I use, like ITC apps. I always seem to do pretty good at cemeteries.
There's
So what?
something about our cemeteries as well in Michigan. I can speak for that, but from a different perspective. My dad is actually a genealogist. And when I was a kid, I spent so much time in cemeteries because he was like deep into it, like headstone tracing, all of that stuff. And I swear that's why I'm a medium.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really interesting cemetery up on this side of the state called Mount Cemetery, and just the history alone, where there was a battle of Indian tribes on the land, then they buried the shipwreck victims there, and there was hundreds of unmarked graves, and then there was a devil's chair there where if you sat in it, you'd die a year later, but somebody ended up taking it out. But there's a lot of weird stuff going on there.
Have you channeled, or not channeled, but have you picked up anything in relation to native land? Because I feel like that has been something that I have taken note of around here.
Yeah, big time around here, especially on the Lakeshore. In fact, I even live on native land. So I mean, I've delved a lot. There's a lot of Native American burials or cemeteries that are near where I'm at. So
That's how
it's
it is
always,
here as well.
yeah, Michigan is really big on that because they were, I think in Newego, there's like a 3,000-year-old burial mound somewhere in the woods up there. And I've been trying to track it down, but that would be definitely something to visit.
What are some of the stuff that you've caught on video or photos? Have you been able to catch some full body apparitions?
We got a pretty good shadow figure. I've caught a few shadow figures on my channel. Some pretty good ones too. I also captured a woman's face in one of a picture I took at the Nunica Cemetery, and it's clear as day, and it's quite something. I'd have to share that one with you.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know the link so we can add that to the podcast information if you can. That'd be really interesting. Do you feel that they're trying to communicate with you to tell you something, or do you think it's more residual energy, or do you think it's a mixture?
Usually it's a mixture, some of it's residual. Others are, wanting help and don't understand that they're passed on, and we try our best to help who we can, and get a lot of different, yeah.
Is that where
I
your
bet
medium? Oh, sorry.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I bet that's where his medium comes in, because I know personally I can help people cross over. So yeah, I'm sure that she comes in and helps with that.
And, learning that part. I mean, I've helped a few myself, but that's where I bring my other medium in.
Well, I'm sure that as you're doing this, and the more you tune yourself to these things, the more open you become, or at least because you're paying attention to it, right? Have you noticed that as you go throughout?
Absolutely. Yeah, to the point where people probably start thinking you're crazy, but it. Yeah, the more you open up to it, the more weird things happen, or more you notice, stuff or them or.
Yeah, it was what equipment do you suggest for somebody that's wanting to start this and start their own little investigation group, or what equipment do you think is completely necessary to have for these?
Well, a camera. I mean, everyone has that on, cell phone or anything, but I started out using just a simple digital recorder. Usually the older ones, the better, because some of the newer ones have noise cancellations in it, so it's a little harder to get AVPs on those. But yeah, that's what I started out with. Then I upgraded to the Spirit Box. The SB7 is really one I like the most. But also, Chill Seekers has a few apps that are the ITC apps out. One is the Necrophonics app and the Spiritus Box app, and both are about like $10. And I've had tons of success on, I've heard my full name on one of those. I've had direct answers. So I mean, I feel like they're pretty legit.
Oh wow, yeah. What are some interesting things that you've heard besides your name and all that? Is it more like words, or is it sentences?
It can be both. I've heard full sentences. I've also heard swearing, like, F you. Sometimes they're not very happy. But I think the one that really gets me is hearing my full name or my name or something like that, because it's just like every time. It's like, even if I'd not even mentioned my name, it's like, how do they know?
Do you think that there's people, maybe relatives that have passed, or people that that have passed, that also communicate through these? Or do you think it's only those that, haven't crossed over?
I think you can For me, I know I have like spirit guides and some loved ones follow me, but I've never actually heard them come through audibly. But I'm not saying that other ones, loved ones, are coming through. I always say in some of my videos, if there's a message that you'd like to say to a family member, maybe someone they know is watching, but I always just like to say that, and maybe in hopes that they want to say something to a family member.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you have somebody that, like the woman that her husband passed and she wanted you to help clear the space in situations
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, if they have any unsaid, or unfinished business, I guess you could say.
Okay, I have a question. Based on like spirit energy in general, do you I recognize isn't the right word because I know you probably do, but do you experience the varying levels, like good energy, bad energy, like, or does your protection work kind of protect you from that?
I am pretty well protected, but if it is negative, I like really negative, I can pick up on that. I get really uneasy, uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm pretty sensitive to the change.
Yeah, I was thinking that would probably be the case.
Well, especially being a Pisces. I mean, us water element people are pretty sensitive already. So, you're already probably really sensitive to the environment no matter what. And then putting yourself in these places, you're going to pick up on these subtle energies and differences um, and notice. And you can feel the difference when there's something positive around you. You get the chills. And then when it's something more negative, you can just feel it all over your energy and even in your thoughts. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I usually get. I get chills, or the feeling of spider web.
Oh,
Yeah, cobwebs, I guess you could say.
so it cobwebs for more of those that are more dark or negative, or just
Just in general, I guess you could say.
yeah.
But for like negative, I've never really felt. I mean, I've never been scratched myself, but someone I was with was. But I definitely was getting that negative feeling in that area.
Has there ever been a place that you're like, okay, I need to, this is, well, I think you said that in the beginning that maybe this was a bad idea. I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, there's a place here in Algoma Township called Hell's Bridge, and there's a lot of weird history. I guess supposedly the legend was the guy took a bunch of kids out there and killed them all, and then they drugged them back and hung them in that same location. But it's on a river and it's a little bridge in the middle of the woods. But also, people have done rituals and opening portals, and there has been reports of demonic activity there. I was there and I was provoking, and that was a mistake. I wasn't attacked at the place at the time, but I was more or less psychically attacked after I left the location.
So do you think the provoking was just a kind of misjudgment, or lack of experience at the time, or not really realizing what you were doing?
Yeah, at the time, I would say maybe a little bit of lack of experience, but also my ego getting in the way. Yeah. So,
You
a little bit.
learn. Yeah.
Lesson
Yeah, at least you're okay to talk about it. But I mean, what was the provoking? Just trying to get a response out of the whatever energy or entity you were feeling?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What do you think about communicating with extraterrestrials? Is that something you've thought about, or have had any sort of experience? Other life or other dimensional beings or anything like that?
Yeah, I love the whole aspect. I've growing up, before I've seen a UFO, but I've heard a lot of reports over Lake Michigan, and I've been trying to get in touch with someone that maybe we could go out on a boat and at night and look. But I've heard tons of reports over Lake Michigan, so that would be definitely something to look into myself. And but also trying to communicate. That's a whole other ball game. I don't know if I'm ready for, but definitely interesting.
Oh yeah, completely. Have you heard about that in Lake Michigan, Lydia, with the UFOs?
I haven't, but I mean, I know I've told you personally that my father experienced a sighting that was televised. My mother has as well. My dad, it was in Dexter, Michigan, in the 70s, I do believe. But I know that those not spirit boxes, I apologize, the apps that pick up like words and stuff like that, like I know a lot of people say that they can like channel like higher dimensional energy while doing that as well.
Wow, yeah, I could imagine.
But that's crazy. I hope you do get to explore something like that at some point. I would love to see what you would pick up because I find it super fascinating as well.
Yeah, I like all aspects of the paranormal. I still have my thoughts on Bigfoot. Every time they come up with a definitive clue, they always debunk it. So it's like, or someone's faking evidence. So it's just, that's been the toughest for me, is like, yeah, I don't know yet, but I've seen spirits with my own eyes. So I definitely could say that they're real. Something out there is, there's something out there.
Where do you see this going for you? Would you like to have a TV show? Do you want to just be able to do these investigations and travel, at least the U.S.? When right now we can't really travel the world, but
Yeah, I would love to see my YouTube channel get bigger. That would open up a lot more doors for me for investigating. I'd love to start traveling a little farther out. Right now, I'm kind of in the Great Lakes area, but we'd really love to get out of state and go to some of these bigger locations out west, maybe.
Oh yeah, you gotta check out like Tombstone, Arizona. That's a fun place. The bird cage. I caught a picture of what looked to be a prostitute in the bird cage.
Yeah, that would be a cool location.
Yeah, there's just the whole Southwest, because you have also the Native American, um, the culture and all that to explore.
Yeah, lots of history down there.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's exciting. And we really do hope that your YouTube is able to expand and you get the opportunity to do this. So who's on your team? How many people do you have?
It's just me, and right now, my partner Gary. But I also bring in my psychic medium when she is available. But other than that, I do most of the work. I edit, I film, I scout.
Yeah, I got to see some of the videos. The editing looks really well done, so it looks really professional. Yeah, I want to get a chance to see all your videos. You have quite a few on there.
Yeah, we're almost really close at 150 uploads, which I just cannot believe. And I just was hit our 2-year birthday on YouTube last month, so I was like, that was really incredible. Still doing what I do, and the community has been amazing, and just a lot of support, which is really great.
So obviously you experience these experiences at places, but do you in your everyday life as well? Like, do you pull out your equipment like randomly just because you feel or sense something in your vicinity?
Well, I do. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily pull out my equipment, like for example, my spirit box, because that thing's just like a magnet and it's just gonna draw more in. And if I'm already, I get drained pretty easily, like just on a day-to-day basis, being an empath, and but I can feel stuff around, and most of the time, um, I mean, there has been times where I've just decided to put on the spirit box just to see what happened. And yeah, you get voices no matter where you're at. My house alone has some history. It burnt down 3 years ago. We rebuilt it, and it was on Native American land. So our neighbor killed himself in his garage. So it's just a lot of weird things happened on the land in general. But yeah, I can definitely feel spirits around me all the time. But I try not to like poke at them all the time, like with the equipment. I try to give them a break, give myself a break as well.
Do you have a way of turning it off? Because I feel like, even though you have a medium doing that you probably pick up maybe the feelings or the thoughts, or you have those abilities anyway. And so how do you turn it off, or do you know how to turn it off for yourself, or you're okay with it just being on?
Well, like meditating is usually good. Distracting yourself. I watch a lot of other YouTube channels. So, I mean, but it's usually always there. It's just a matter of, trying to tune it out the best you can when you're not really wanting it to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And
Meditation,
just,
I think, would be the best for me.
what kind of meditations do you like to do? Just like some breathing, or do you do any specific ones?
Yeah, I do a little bit of guided meditation, breathing exercises, and also the EFT tapping, which is basically working with your chakras and tapping on your chakras. And that seems to do pretty good for me, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like you have to be pretty balanced. And if you're going to be doing this work, you have to make sure that you spend a significant amount of time of getting yourself in a good place. Because I can imagine if you didn't, that could be very overpowering with the energy.
I have my good days with the anxiety stuff and bad days. So I try not to go out and investigate when I'm like really, anxious or in a bad mood, I guess you could say. I guess I can open you up for attacks or more vulnerable.
Yeah, definitely.
That is so interesting to me, that it's like you're being used kind of as this tool in a sense. And so you have to keep yourself like well put together in a way to be able to do what you need to do.
Yeah. And it's tricky, and it's a challenge every day. It's no easy task. And I put myself on this crazy schedule for uploading once a week too, because I always want to have something for my followers. And sometimes it's investigating as much as I do, it can take a toll. There are times where I'm just like, I need a break.
That is so cool. And I'm so happy that we got to have you here today, Darren. We're about to run out of time now, Rachel. So we might want to start to wrap this up a little bit. But this was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it really was. And I just have one quick question, though, Darren. Your dreams. Do you think that you get messages through your dreams from any of these energies? Or have you noticed that real quick? Sorry.
If they're very vivid for me, and usually I've had intuitive dreams, I guess you could say. I've seen the future in my dreams, or events that haven't occurred yet. But I've also had loved ones that recently passed that had visited me in my dreams too. And now, knowing what I know now, when I originally had the dream, I didn't realize that it was actually them saying goodbye.
Oh wow, yeah. But it's comforting to know that they're still able to communicate in their own way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for giving us
thank you.
this time with you, and we really hope that everything grows and you get to expand and you pursue all your dreams with this. And I don't know, you are pretty open, and I think the more you do, the more it's going to expand, and you're going to develop and see so much more for yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet you. I was like, I know somebody and I know he would be good for this. So I'm so happy that we got to have this experience with you. Thank you so much, Darren.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Take care.
All right, take care. Thanks for having me.
Oh wait, and make sure.
Oh.
Okay, so once again, people, if they want to find your YouTube channel, say it again.
Oh yeah, so I'm on Lakeshore Paranormal. If you want to keep up to date on all the content I have out, just hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell. Also, I'm on Facebook under Lakeshore Paranormal too, and I think my Twitter is Lakeshore Para N1.
So if people want to contact you even for investigations, that's where they can reach out to any of those platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll respond right away.
Awesome. Thank you so much.